Alright, welcome everybody to another exciting video. This is Chess with Lutho Mfazwe and you are chilling with me, Lutho Mfazwe, on my channel. Yes, Lutho Mfazwe is a channel dedicated to my understanding, my thoughts, my interpretation of the game of chess and everything in between. I think everybody has the right to free speech, the right to free expression, and the right to express themselves, especially as a individual and as a special being. If you don't express yourself, you do not exist, as some people get to say. So yeah, this is Chess with Lutho Mfazwe, trying to give you my take on what's going on in the chess world, as much as the other, personnels and people out there are actually giving their thoughts as well. Yeah, when you're watching Chess 24, you're watching the thoughts of another person. When you're watching all these big, channels, those are the thoughts of other people as well. So yeah, here my 2 cents as well with regards to the game of chess, especially dealing with the chess played in the South African landscape, and touching a bit there and there with the chess that's played in the world as well. Speaking of the world, Gukesh and Ding Liren are actually at it right now. And the game is not looking so well for Gukesh. It seems as if, last I remember, oh, would you look at that? That is a whole, I need to go there. Let me just see what's going on here. That's a whole +7 game. Wow. When I left it, I think I left it at move number 20, where it was still a bit balanced, but yeah. Who's this? Tingleren was actually having like a nice advantage, but at the same time, it's not something that's indefensible. I'm now shocked that it went so far as to get to this position where we have a +7 on the board. So yeah, Tingleren, I think he heard my comments last night and he was very angry perhaps, and now he's bringing back the firepower to Damaraj Gukesh. So I think Gukesh is actually losing this game. It's a pity, but okay, but I'm sure that in subsequent games perhaps he might come back. But yeah, this game, too much domination, +9. I mean, yeah. Perhaps it's just the time issue that's still allowing him to play. I think perhaps he's in the what do you call that, adrenaline phase. Yes, his adrenaline is still just running, but otherwise, when everything is calmed down, I think you'll recognize that the position is fundamentally lost, and soon we expect resignation. I don't think Dean might make a mistake in this one. So yeah, that's what's going on with the world champion. Let's just see some of the comments that people are leaving on the chat, just to hear what they say. No way, bro. Okay, some people are actually, talking for themselves. Bishop F1 is hard to find. Unstoppable. Kukesh trying to flag him. Yeah, so, yeah, these have been truly wild games. Okay, Kasparov going wild. Uh, yeah, so sometimes chat is just a bit rude. So yeah, some commenters saying stop wasting our time and just resign. I mean, yeah, it's unnecessary, so yeah, and by the way, it's not wasting your time. You're not the one that's playing. So yeah. Anyway, guys, I am back at it again with another video, where I am going to be looking at some of the games that I played in the Western Province League. The SummerSlam games happen at night, and the Western Province League games happen during the day. So let me just make sure that before we jump in, everything is in order, and we can look at this game, which is round number 3. Round number 3. I showed you now round number 2. I can't remember when, but now we are at round number 3. I think that was the day before. Yes, and this is my game against Franco Lielieveld, who is a very promising junior. I think he's already gotten his SA colors. So he's somebody that's very formidable and somebody to watch out for in the next in the next year. In fact, I think I think the league might have given him a very strong boost, and yeah, he'll be showing us who and what he's made of soon. So anyway, pawn onto d4 played, d5. I'm a staunch d4 player, so I don't drift from that. So pawn onto c5, the terrace that we are going into, and I play e3, just trying to avoid any theoretical nuances of the terrace. I actually don't know what's going on here, and yeah, this game actually exposed some of my issues, and that is that my opening knowledge nowadays is not so big. I'll explain perhaps when I'm doing a philosophical video why that is, but for now, let's just enjoy the game. So pawn into castle, knight c6, b3, and yeah, I'm just avoiding exchanges in the center. I'm also inviting my opponent, if he would like, to actually enter into a hanging pawns position. I think I do have a bit of experience and some theoretical knowledge regarding that. Of course, please do not blunder by knight takes d4, knight takes d4, queen d4, and bishop h7, check, and we pick up the queen later on. So yeah, after b3, pawn into b6 is what he played, and so he's just following the same type of opening configuration that I am also employing. And I go into the hanging pawns position where he has the hanging pawns and I have to attack them. Obviously, the theory goes that you just want one of the pawns to actually push, and you try to use the squares that it has left behind. So bishop on a3 puts pressure on the pawn on c5, and soon knight on a4 is going to follow, putting more pressure on the pawn as well. So bishop on g4 played, pinning the knight, and knight on a4. And I think perhaps here, instead of bishop g4, could have also considered the move queen on a5, putting pressure on the bishop. And if I should continue with the move knight onto a4 normally, then this is going to be good for him, I believe. Here, bishop rook c1, takes, or something like that, knight onto b4. Yeah, this line a bit, or this line knight onto b4 as well, where if bishop onto e2 is played, then bishop d7, you can see that the knight is attacked and he's threatening to create double pawns, unfortunately, because the bishop is hanging. The knight has to stay there, and yeah, he gets an isolated pawn in return. Sorry, bishop takes b4, c takes knight d4, takes, and yeah, I've double pawns here, but he has an isolated pawn as well, so not balanced. Of course, an advantage for black, but playable position for white. So anyway, bishop onto g4 was played. Knight onto a4. My apologies here. Knight goes to a4, and now knight onto e5. And here I played the move bishop e2, just moving away. I actually wanted to play another move here. Oh, these WhatsApp messages are actually disturbing. I actually wanted to play another move here, which was knight takes c5, bishop takes c5, but I thought that perhaps this is going to be a bit risky, and I'm happy that my hunch actually, was correct, because had I played the move, I would actually, lose the game. So if bishop c5, then bishop c5, knight takes c5, knight takes f3, pawn takes f3, and bishop h3. And if you play rook onto e1, then the knight comes back to d7, threatening queen onto g5, and checkmate here, and the knight is also hanging on the other side as well. So that would be just plain out losing the game on the spot. So bishop e2 played, and after bishop onto e2, let me just switch off the engine here. Knight onto g7, and he just defends his pawn here on c5. So now rook onto c1, obviously piling up more pressure on the pawn. Rook c8, h3, bishop e6, and here I played rook onto c2. There's actually a cool move here, which is the move knight onto d4, and yeah, the engine actually surprises us every time. Pawn into d4. The idea is that after rook onto c8, queen c8, you can see the queen is separated from the bishop, and bishop on d7, okay, bishop f6, takes f6, you get a pawn. And unfortunately, he has no compensation for the pawn. In fact, his position is very loose as well, considering that he has 2 pawns that are weak on d4 and ace on d5 and a7. So definitely a good position for white. So rook c2 played, unfortunately, with the idea of either rook d2 or if I get a chance to double up on the c file, but obviously I'll have to watch out for some ideas of attacking the rooks. So yeah, pawn into c4, takes c7, queen d4, takes, and here in this position I felt like I lost the position a bit. Perhaps I could have done better, but I'm not sure where I lost the position. And yeah, I was afraid of this move, queen onto a3. Let me just see. Where is this book of mine? Perhaps I can see where. There we go. Okay. I think perhaps I had some notes on the game where I gave a reason as to why I was afraid of queen a3. So that's move number 20. Move number 20. We'll just see here what I said. So rook onto c7 is the move that he played. But I said I was afraid of queen onto a3 here. Not sure why. Not sure why. So even in the notes as well, I wasn't sure why. Oh yeah, then there's some analysis here that I made. So looking at the position, I'd say black is better. Centralized pieces, rook on an open file, outside pass pawn, a pawn on a file, not passed on but potentially. Good control of central position. White has nicely placed pieces as well. The queen is centralized, putting pressure on a7 and on d5. Control, on c5 as well. Control of potential pressure on the isolated pawn on d5. 2-point islands, which is that and that, instead of 3, which black has. Okay, the next part of the game was difficult to play. What's the plan now? A removal of pieces would leave black with 2 clear weaknesses, structural weaknesses. That's one idea. Attacking one of the weaknesses is another idea. So basically, I'm not sure. I was afraid of queen a3, but I'm not sure why. And I did not actually write it in the notes as to why this was scaring me a bit. Okay, but anyway, queen on a3. In fact, queen a3, I believe, is also the engine's first choice. Yeah, queen onto a3. But I'm not sure why I was afraid of that. But anyway, rook onto c7 is what he played, defending his pawn. Rook onto a1, stopping the move queen onto a3, and knight onto e4. Perhaps he's trying to swing with the knight so that they can actually enter into the game. Pawn onto b4, stopping the knight from getting to c5. a6, bishop d3. And yeah, now the threat is to capture twice on e4, which would win a pawn. So knight onto e4 is played. And knight e4 leaves the e5 square, so that gives a peace of mind an opportunity to actually enter into the game. And here he plays this move knight d2, and now he's starting to make some mistakes here. Well, the knight is threatening to play knight onto b3, but as you can see, the knight is a loner on the square on d2, not supported by any other pieces, so might not be such a good move. Plus, it relinquishes protection over the c5 square. So knight onto c5 was played, keeping b3, and at the same time bringing the knight to a more active post, supported by the other knight as well. So I'm not sure about this move, knight onto d2. So anyway, bishop h3 is what is played, and here he's actually making a mistake. What he was hoping for was a sequence such as this one: queen takes e5, queen takes, and knight on f3, which of course would actually allow him to win, the game. But unfortunately, here after bishop takes h3, I played the move rook onto a2, which attacks the knight. And if he should move the knight, unfortunately those tactics do not exist, so I can actually take the bishop here. And at this point he actually is basically lost, because after knight on d4, takes, g takes h3, he's down a piece and he has no compensation for the piece. And the game just ended fairly easily. Knight onto g4, just aiming to exchange, pawn onto f4, knight takes e4, and here you can see I'm just exchanging pieces, and yeah, queen and knight takes on h6, just removing the defender of the d8 square. So if queen takes h6, then queen onto d8, and I'll pick up the rook, f5, and yeah, okay. Here this is just mopping up and eventually exchanging the queens, which would leave me a rook up, and the game is gone for him. So yeah, very interesting game there. Of course, he was actually playing very well, but just here at the end, he thought he saw a tactic, and he actually jumped for it without actually analyzing it very, very well. And I remember that he was also burning a lot of time as he was playing. So I think it was around the 15-minute mark at this point when he made that sacrifice, which was a bit careless even from the time's perspective as well. But I mean, if your instincts are telling you that something is correct and you've calculated a bit to see, you can't calculate any refutation, then you should actually jump for it. Yeah, so that's what happened in this case, and yeah, it backfired. So yeah, that's game number 3 of the league. I'll be showing you game number 4 tomorrow. Please make sure that you check out game number 5 of the SummerSlam today. I'll still be giving you that game, and also giving you some updates regarding what's going on with these two, Lielieveld and Gukesh Damaraju. Well, let's just see what happened here. It seems as if it is decided. Lielieveld wins game number 12. So he equalizes the match. Wow. Okay. Nice. And that just means now that Gukesh is going to have to work a bit harder, and Ding as well is going to have to work a bit harder. But yeah, should be a great world championship. Yes, guys, like and subscribe, share, and do comment on the WhatsApp group, as well as drop some comments in the YouTube comment section as well. I'll see you guys in the next video. Cheers.